Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. The conditions that would make a dead meat halal are few. The default is the dead meat is haram. When you kill an animal, whichever way you do so, the animal becomes dead. And a dead meat is haram as per many Quranic verses. إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةَ. To bring about change to this categorical statement of Quran or the injunction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, one has to have certain criteria met as explained by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number one, it must be slaughtered by a Muslim or the member of the people of book, which is Christian or Jews mainly. So the person doing it must be either a Muslim or Jew or a Christian. Regardless of what their beliefs are, regardless of what their defects and the problems are with their understanding about Jesus in case of Christianity or with Jewish people with regards to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and any of the prophets, whatever they believe in, these people who are slaughtering the animal must have a clear faith according to their standards. So they must be a believing Christian, a believing Jewish man or a woman who slaughtered the animal. The next condition is the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must be mentioned, must be proclaimed. Obviously, clearly, there could be no mention of other deity. But this is not a neutral position that you can't, or you didn't say the name of Allah, but you didn't say the name of anyone else besides Allah. No, that's not a condition. If someone proclaims a name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is haram regardless, whether it is done by Muslim or non-Muslim. The condition is that it should not be slaughtered in the name of any deity other than Allah. Also, there should be the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ. Do not eat that upon which the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not mentioned. So the three Imams would consider this to be a condition. Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullah alayhi, on the other hand, he says if someone omits the name accidentally, then it's okay. You can have that meat and then proclaim the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and eat. Other three Imams do not allow that. They consider it to be a condition. So majority consider it to be a condition to proclaim the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the time of slaughter. Now, even with Imam Shafi'i's view, is it really that the people who do not mention the name of Allah, they actually forget it, or they actually deliberately do not do so, either because they do not know it or do not want to know or want to do it? So definitely you would see categorically the people who would slaughter in the normal shops and slaughterhouses, they are not bothered about that. They do not proclaim the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that condition is missed as well. Now, the third condition is out of the vessels, out of the veins and arteries and the tubes in the neck, there has to be certain amount which is differed upon, whether it's 3 or 4 or 2, to be cut in order to get the animal slaughtered properly. So the method of slaughtering is specified in Sharia as well. So blood must be drained. So 2 jugular veins, one on each side of the neck, trachea, which is the windpipe, and esophagus, which is the food pipe. Out of the 4 at least two, and according to some imams, three must be cut. For the blood to be drained, for the animal to be exhausted and then die slowly in order to get all the blood drained out of the body through contraction. That is why a whiplash injury or cutting the neck straight away is not permissible. Now you look at the meat supplied in the common markets. Number one, the person who is slaughtering may or may not be people of book. May or may not be from the people of book. There are many people who are not Christians, although by name they may have been, or previously they may have been. There's a growing trend of atheism in the West, mostly due to the culture, mostly due to the trend. It sounds and it seems very trendy to be atheist these days, and it's easy. So you cannot certify that the person who slaughtered is a Christian or Jewish man, or he's actually atheist. Besides, there are many people who work in those slaughterhouses are Hindus, Sikh, Buddhist. How would you qualify? How would you know who slaughtered the animal? So you can never be certain about this. Now, stunning an animal is okay as long as we rest assured that the animal has not been dead. How would you make sure that? The studies confirm that about 2 to 3%, 4% of animals with weak heart, weakness of any sort, they can get killed. If they're diseased, if they've got any issues, they actually die of that small amount of current given to them, or the bullet that they get. They may actually die of the stress or the strain or the pressure they get. Their mind, their heart cannot cope with that, and they actually die. So how would you know which of these animals have actually died during the process of stunning? If they did, then that meat is haram. That's a dead meat. You can't have that. But when it's mixed together, who's going to check which one was which? Since you cannot, the default of the meat remains. So default is the meat is haram because it is a dead meat. It has to be certain that the meat of the dead animal is halal by fulfilling all the conditions mentioned above. They must be slaughtered by a Muslim or a member from the people of book who believes in their faith, not anyone else. It must be slaughtered in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It must not have died before actual completion of the slaughtering process. And finally, certain veins must have been severed in order to cause the blood to be drained. So if you put the criteria on any meat available in the market other than manual slaughter, you would find that that meat cannot be classified as halal at all. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand. The final point is, number one, is it a must to have meat? Or, in fact, it is better to not have meat these days. We're not dying of lack of protein in the West. We actually are dying of excess of cholesterol and other problems with regards to meat. So for one, it's not healthy anyway to have meat on a daily basis. Unfortunately, we do not like it. We enjoy our meat more than anything else. But even then, it is not healthy, number one. Second, are there no halal meat options available? There are many. There are many. And even if you didn't have it, what about fish? That should suffice. That's healthy, better. So why would one want to go for a dodgy track where one may end up having consumption of haram meat? May Allah give us tawfiq to understand.